إن العطاء إمداده متنوع إن العطاء إمداده متنوع يا حسنه ذاك العطاء المتنوع وردوا على نهر الحياة وكلهم شربوا وكم في الركب من متضلع حاشا الكريم يردهم عطشا وقاد وردوا وأصل الجود من ذا المنبع أصل الجود من ذا المنبع يا رب لي ظن جميل وافر قدمته وامشي به يسعى معي يا رب يا رب لي ظن جميل وافر قدمته أمشي به يسعى معي كل الذي يرجون فضلك كل الذي يرجون فضلك أمطروا حاشاك أن يبقى هشيما مربعي كل الذي يرجون فضلك أمطروا حاشاك أن يبقى هشيما مربعي.
Three, two, one. And we are live. Alright guys, welcome back to the live stream after half a year or so. I really don't know how long it has been. Most definitely at least 3 months since I did the last live stream. I've been very, very busy, family matters, etc, but I've seen you guys already asking in the chat, how's my health? Alhamdulillah guys, I don't want to jinx it, but it's most definitely improving, thank God. So I'm on a good route at the moment, and yes, therefore, finally capable of doing some more content. It has been a long time, as I said, and many things have been happening in the world of YouTube Islam, if you will. So let me check first who's in the chat here. Okay, we have many people. Salam. Good to see you guys. I want to hear Bobby's perspective on Trump. Trump is just like any other presidential candidate, a Zionist, and I don't think it's even possible to become the president of the United States without being a Zionist. So therefore, I don't really care for Trump. But that being said, Trump is good for crypto, and I myself am invested in crypto, and hence, yeah, that's a benefit for me personally, for me and my family. But other than that, I don't think highly of him. He had to go to the wall, not the Great Wall that he wants to build, but another wall in a distant country, and essentially bow to it and wear a funny cap whilst doing that. And they all do the same. They all have the same agenda. I said it 10,000 times before. The conservatives and the liberals are basically two sides of the same coin. The liberals are progressing faster. The conservatives play the game of curbing them ultimately. But nevertheless, it is moving into the exact same direction. one a bit faster, the other one a bit slower, the outcome is the same. And therefore, I do not see Trump as some sort of savior figure, as oh so many conservatives of the West. That is my perspective on Trump. Guys, if you want to support my work, my channel, shoot a super chat. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. Salam from Somaliland. Oh, salam. I think that's the first time somebody from Somaliland. Pirzada Usman says, let's donate to Bobby so we can help more. Yeah, thank you very much. Guys, if you would just donate 1% of what people donate to Apostate Prophet, I would be very, very happy. Have you seen that? That is amazing, man. The guy pulled a phenomenal stunt. Honestly, kudos, man. What a con artist. What a con man. This is so amazing. I had to laugh. Check this out. Wait a second. Let me pull it up. It will take some time, of course. You know, Boomer Bobby and technology. It always takes some time. Inshallah, one day I will have a team that does the technology for me and I can simply talk and relax. That would be cool. But until then, I will have to do everything myself. By the way, guys, how's the sound? Everything fine? Everything is sounding okay? Please let me know before I keep on babbling here. Wait a second. Let me change the sound module. So...
No, but these are also tough times that...
Okay, you can hear the beautiful voice of AP. Ridwan is his real name, right? Okay. And let me click on his campaign. So, before I... wow, this is amazing. Oh man, what a scam. Anyways, every YouTuber relies on support, or most YouTubers, let's put it that way, rely on support of their audience, myself included as well. I ask you guys as well for support of my work. I said it many times before, because YouTube is consistently censoring, shadow banning, etc., etc., you name it. On that note, we have a super chat here. I'm going to read it out in a second. Thank you very much. However, I asked you directly when I was in hospital, almost died in hospital. This is not an exaggeration. This is really what happened. I was in the hospital twice, almost dead, and I had no insurance. So therefore, yes, I asked you guys to support if you can, and alhamdulillah, you did. But Ridwan, AP, got this glorious idea to piggyback off current events, let's put it that way, right? So you know that Momika, what was his first name? Whatever. Momika got shot. He was a famous enemy of Islam, Islamophobe, call him what you will. We don't know to this very day why he got shot. 5 people have been arrested, allegedly. And so therefore, of course, everybody assumes now it was due to his quote-unquote Islam criticism, which is so ridiculous. Now they paint this picture. This was just Islam criticism. Of course not. He was smoking cigars and stomping on the Quran. So this was a clear provocation. And you simply have to have a little bit of common sense. And I know that many apologists and ex-Muslims and anti-Islamists, etc., they don't have it. But the point of the story is, of course, that if you go into a certain area where you have a certain population of a specific group, it doesn't have to be Muslim, could be anything, and you desecrate a religious symbol or a nationalistic symbol that group adheres to, that group venerates, etc., of course you will have to fear certain repercussions, right? Play stupid prizes and play stupid games and win stupid prizes. That's literally what it boils down to. So therefore, this outcry now, I don't really understand it. Now the anti-Islamists, the enemies of Islam, they're painting this picture, oh, evil Muslims, don't you see? They have no heart at all. Nobody feels sorry for Momika, don't you see? They're really, really evil. It's really hard and tough to feel sorry for a guy that goes out and burns Qurans in public. I would have the exact same opinion about a guy that goes out and burns a Buddhist book, the Torah. the Bible, right? Matter of fact, I'm from the Balkan, and I can guarantee you that if you would burn the Bible in public and you would pull such stunts, let's say in Serbia or in Bulgaria, I'm pretty sure that somebody would take great offense in that. And the outcome would be similar, if not the same. So to point the finger and say, oh, evil, evil Muslims, it's always them. Yeah, well, nobody's pulling such stunts when it comes down to the Bible, right? Or when it comes down to the Torah or the Talmud, let alone, all right? So it's quite funny to see how they are crying now about it. And, oh, those Muslims have no empathy. They have no compassion. Why would they? This guy behaved outrageously, absolutely outrageously, and with utter disrespect. As a matter of fact, it's not only Muslim nations that would disagree with such behavior, if you want to call it that. If you look into Russia, Putin made it illegal to desecrate the Quran or the Bible, any religious scripture, right? And you will go to jail right away. So in Sweden, he still had that freedom of speech ultimately, because the cops were protecting him. So therefore, yes, absolutely, he had freedom of speech, but freedom of speech does not come without consequences. I mean, even I honestly don't think that I said anything too outrageous here on YouTube, to be totally honest, but nevertheless, I got a ton of death threats. Critiquing certain politics on the Balkans, ton of death threats. Critiquing veganism even, ton of death threats, right? Doxing and whatnot. People that believe in their ideology will stand up for their ideology. It's just that simple. And ultimately, we have to stand up for our ideologies, because otherwise they will be desecrated, they will be disrespected. And yeah, you see that with Christianity, for example. You have so many cartoons and whatnot making fun about Jesus. And nowadays, Christianity is a laughing stock because of that, because Christians do not stand up for Jesus, do not stand up for the Bible as they used to, right? You have to stand up for your beliefs. Otherwise, they will be destroyed by other beliefs. That's just human nature. It is always like that. It always has been like that. So there's nothing exclusive to Islam. But anyways, enough rambling. Let me pull this up now. Inshallah, it will work now. Let me check. Here it is. A fundraiser. It is called a fundraiser by Ridwan Aydemir. And he writes, "Keep my family safe and build Apostate Prophet 2.0. And in a matter of, let us check one more thing here, his video. Here we go. Like this. He posted this video with the fundraiser yesterday, today. It's today my time. So I guess, let's just say a few hours ago. 20 hours ago, something on those lines. Anyways, he posted this fundraiser in the matter of not even a day. I really have to laugh. Those idiots raised $82,000 for this guy, so he can keep his family safe. It's amazing how he piggybacked. We have to watch this video. Ultimately, in a nutshell, now this Momika guy got shot, and now out of a sudden, it's getting real, and AP has to protect himself and his family, right? As if anything changed all of a sudden. He was already desecrating the Quran and doing all kinds of ungodly things to it. So therefore, if something was supposed to happen, it would have happened already. But now, because something happened in Sweden, allegedly, now the jihadis are running wild and they're going to catch him now. They're going to catch him now. Now it's going to happen, of course, and therefore he needs your help. Let's see what he writes here. "I need all the help I can get to have equipment, a different setup, and safety and security for those I love. I will need security systems." What does that mean? Cameras in your house? Will you set up a security cam? Oh man, that's amazing. Security and safety equipment. Isn't that the same? High-end computers. What is a high-end computer? You're getting a quantum computer? Hacking the Matrix? What is happening, man? New filming equipment. Building a studio. Hiring people to increase production. And much, much more. So he needs all of that now because Momika has been shot and AP is fearing for his life now, apparently, allegedly. And yeah, good for him, man. Great scam artist. He reached 82,000. Hey, people, look at this. Martin Jessing, sounds kind of German, donated $21,000. Wait, can you see this? Let me move myself out of the way. Here, I hope you can see this. Martin Jessing. I cannot highlight this, can I? Here. $21,000. A one-time donation. And this is so hilarious because people will say that, yeah, people like Tate and Sneeko, they accept Islam for the fame and for the money. What kind of money, man? It's akhirah over dunya in the end. What kind of money? What are you talking about? But those guys are balling here. He got a $21,000 donation by one guy. So this is how important AP is to him. This is amazing, man. Honestly, kudos to them. Fantastic scam. Let's watch the video. But before we do so, let me read out the super chats. Thank you very much, guys. We have a very humble goal here of 10 super chats to get it started. Thank you very much. Up until now, we have 2. Merci beaucoup. Abdullah, good to see you, brother. Salam, updates on moving to a Muslim country. Actually, inshallah, bro, April. Not the move yet, but April, I'm visiting a specific Muslim country. You know what I mean. So yeah, April, end of April. It should have been January, but too much to do. And so inshallah, end of April, we shall meet again. Clutch Builds, $5. Thank you very much. Salam, brother Bobby. I have been watching you for 2 years now and it really motivates me as a born Muslim. Wallah, thank you. Love from Yemen. Allahu Akbar. Yeah, for me it's always very humbling. I said it before and it's kind of surreal, to be honest, because of my background. I mean, now it has been pretty much 2 years since I reverted to Islam, alhamdulillah. So therefore, it's not as vivid in my mind anymore. But when I reverted, I was still wondering and simply, yeah, flabbergasted that me, as someone that comes from background of Islamophobia, if you will, somebody that hated Islam, can actually become a Muslim. That was mind-blowing to myself. So life surprises you like that. It's quite amazing. But then when born Muslims start reaching out and they told me, hey man, because of you, I'm practicing more and whatnot, for me that was absolutely mind-blowing and is still, to this very day, very, very humbling. So thank you very much for your words. Thank you very much for your support. I appreciate it. Allahu Akbar. Aliyah Yen or Aliyah Jen 8 Saad, thank you very much. Have you been to Saudi Arabia yet? No, I haven't. Inshallah this year, man. I really want to do Umrah, so who knows? Inshallah this year. I should be in that region. But so many planes are crashing, man. Me as a planophobe. Whew. Just 2 plane crashes in the last week, man. Insane. Clutch Builds. $2. Thank you very much, bro. Appreciate it again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. Anyways, let's check out this video. It's highly entertaining. I watched already a good bit of it. I couldn't believe it. It's just... AP, it's a genius move, man. Honestly. Using the emotional attachment to Momika and just redirecting all that frustration to you and simply getting that bag. Kudos, man. Kudos. Great scam. Anyhow, okay. Let's move this a bit, like so. Maybe theater mode is better. Yeah, so we can see his beautiful face. It's amazing. Okay. Like this. Let's check it out. Even this clickbaity title, man. Sorry, guys. I know I should just play the video, but it's so hilarious. Look at this. I didn't even know that this was a title. Can you read this? The title is, "They want to kill me next. Stand with me." This is so hilarious, man. Of course. That's what they want to do. Dude, you'd have done way worse than this Momika. The main difference is that you're not living in a area such as in Sweden, where it's highly populated with people that would do something. You're living in America, and the situation with anti-Islamists, enemies of Islam, is quite different in America. And that's why nothing happened until now. That's what it is. And nobody wants to kill you next, as if you're on some sort of list now. Look at him. With his jacket like a reporter. Oh man, this is amazing. It's a good move. It's I would say one of the best clickbaity titles I've seen in the last year or so.
Hi everyone, this is the Apostate Prophet.
Hi.
We're going through some tough times right now, but these are also tough times that I and we all need to work through. I normally don't want to act and think and speak like this, and don't want to put myself into a position or depict myself as at the forefront of things. But at some points, I think we have to acknowledge that that there is a reality, as uncomfortable as it is, which is the reality of the sick and messed up world that we live in, where vile individuals go around and do horrible things to other people because of their barbaric beliefs. Our dear friend...
This is absolutely amazing. So, yet again, so little self-reflection. Not taking into consideration, yet again, that this man started the vile actions, right? That's just what it is. So, you wouldn't be happy, and your buddy David Wood wouldn't be happy either, if somebody would burn the Bible. And if you wouldn't stand up for it and do something about it, then David Wood, and I don't know what's up with you because he's wearing a cross now as well, so I assume he's a Christian now too, then you simply do not truly believe in your cause. In Christianity, you have martyrs that died for their faith, right? This is not exclusive to Islam, yet again. People stood up for Christianity, and this is why Christianity survived 2,000 years. But now you see that they're not standing up anymore, that they're cowering away. And this is why Islam is taking over, because Muslims are the only ones that still believe truly in their religion, and they're capable of defending their religion. That's just what it is. That's the main difference. And if you would be just an Islam critic, if you will, there are many people that are Christians and that debate against Islam, for Christianity, and those people have nothing to fear whatsoever. Islam and Christian debates are as old as Islam and Christianity. It's nothing new, right? But when you guys go out in public, I don't know exactly what this guy did here. I think he peed on the Quran or something on those lines. So super disgusting behavior. And then they're wondering if somebody gets offended. That is crazy. Honestly, if I would take a Harry Potter book, for example, and I would go out and pee on it and stomp on it, and I would do that for years on end, you know what? There could be some sort of Hogwarts nerd that freaks out and shoots me or beats me up or something on those lines, right? I have to suffer a certain consequence potentially, and I should anticipate that, right? So it's not like you guys go out and, with respect, critique Islam, advocate for Christianity. You don't. It's quite obvious, right? All you do is build a career on mocking a religion, mocking people that follow the religion. That's what you do. And then you are outraged when something happens. It's insane.
Salwan Momika was just murdered by a bunch of cowards, parasites. In a healthier world, you would have everyone condemning this. In healthier societies, people would be afraid or ashamed to cheer on the killings of such people, to celebrate it. Even if they happen to have those messed up thoughts, at least they would condemn it.
Why?
Reject it.
Why?
I have only encountered one Muslim person so far who has actually condemned the murder of Salwan Momika. The best thing I have seen from some Muslims, very
This is absolutely ridiculous. As I said already, I do not condemn his murder. I have nothing to do with his murder. I'm not promoting violence on the other hand either. I have to say this here on YouTube, of course. But nevertheless, if a person goes to, let's say, a very concentrated Christian area in Texas, yeah, and burns Bibles over and over again, I would assume that some Texan would shoot the guy with a rifle after a while. That could happen. If somebody would desecrate the Bible on the Balkans, as I said, Serbia, Bulgaria, I would assume that some Serb or Bulgarian would go out and at least beat the guy up or shoot him. That could happen. So this happens when you provoke and when you trigger people with vile disrespect. That's what it is. For many people, Islam is their life. You understand? So it's a very, very dear matter to their heart. And of course, they can react in a certain way. But yet again, it is not exclusive to Muslims. To people that still hold to strong beliefs, this is a normal type of behavior. And that's why you cannot be surprised then. And I don't understand how this is, so outrageous to believe that now all of a sudden, wow, this is only a Muslim thing. Don't you see? Because you only see that in the West, which is an atheistic continent now, basically. In Europe, I'm speaking of. And people do not defend their religions anymore. Right? It's so funny. When it comes down to Israel, for example, of course I have to censor myself as well, yet again, and I have to bite my tongue. This is why I'm speaking like a robot a little bit, because I'm kind of breaking in my head and taking steps back. What can I say here? What can't I say? But you look at Israel, and people like you, AP, will say they have every right in the book to defend themselves, right? They should defend themselves. They're the only democracy in the Middle East. So they have the right to do all kinds of atrocious things when their ideology, when their national concept is attacked, right? Then they can do that. No worries. But if another group that is being already displayed as absolutely outrageous in the media, and now on top of that, not only is there a rise in far-right activists in the West, and not only are they advocating for kicking out Muslims altogether, no, now let's burn their book on a daily basis, right? Let's stomp on it. And all the cops are protecting that guy for whatever reason. And then you're not expecting any type of repercussion. This is insanity. It's stupid. It's silly.
Is that they are not for killing people like that. The majority of them celebrate it. They like it. They love it. They find it funny. They find it hilarious. They cheer for it. And they wish the same upon others. They wish the same upon me. And upon critics like Islam. And upon critics of Islam and ex-Muslims.
Yet again, you're not a critic of Islam. If you were a critic of Islam, like any Christian debater, then you would have nothing to fear, potentially. But you're not a critic of Islam, you're an enemy of Islam outright, and you're mocking the religion. It is very, very different. You are from Germany, or at least you grew up your early years in Germany. Du kennst den Spruch. Wie man in den Wald ruft, so schallt es hinaus.
Just a few days before this, before the killing of Salwan, we had a Muslim debater threatening me, doing a throat-slitting gesture on camera, and declaring that my blood is halal, meaning that I should be killed. As I was calling that
I haven't watched the debate.
out, we received the news of Salwan Momika being murdered by these low-life scumbag bastards. I have ever since intensified my reactions and also called on others to stand in solidarity with Salwan.
Yeah, what are your reactions? So I'm not sure if this is accurate, but I think one of his reactions was that now he's going to burn even more Qurans. Let me just double check real quick if that is true. I don't want to say something wrong here. And meanwhile, I'm going to read out some super chats as well. But I think his reactions to this was to burn more Qurans. Like a child, basically. And he didn't get the memo, you know? Oh, wow, somebody got shot because he was burning the Quran. He was doing all kinds of atrocious things, as I said already. Now let me do the same thing over and over again. And let me cry then that my life is in danger. Boo-hoo. Please donate money to me. Okay, man. Cool. Let me just check if it is true that he was burning even more Qurans as a counter reaction. And thank you very much for the super chats, guys. Appreciate it. Zilavexis, 3 Aussie dollars. Thank you. May Allah avenge us in this life and the next. Amen. Amen. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it. Let me just double check here real quick. I'm pretty sure that's what I saw. I don't know if it was on X or on his YouTube channel. I think it was an X. One second, guys. Okay. Okay, like this. Ridwan. Okay. YouTuber, ex-Muslim, researcher. It's so hilarious, you know? Ex-Muslim. I would be considered an ex-Christian. Do you see me posting that anywhere, over and over again as a title? Ex-Christian. Anyways, ex-Muslim, researcher. How? What are you researching? Fact checker. Occasionally satirical. Paid by Israel. Non-Jewish Jew lover. Secret Christian. Yeah, indirectly, that is actually true. He's making fun of it. It's basically following his occasionally satirical. He's of course not directly paid by Israel. He would be a way too small channel for that. But nevertheless, there are ties. Burning the Quran in solidarity with Salwan Momika and Tommy Robinson. I'm willing to sacrifice my life to condemn Islam and in defense of the sanctity and values of freedom and the West. They wanted war, so it's on. Era American, friend of Salwan Momika. Oh. It's really hilarious. It's like a parody. No self-reflection whatsoever. Because the guy has been triggering Muslims in a highly populated Muslim area in Sweden. This is potentially, allegedly, why this happened. Again, to this very day, we don't really know. We're going to find out what happened there, I guess, at some point. And now those idiots keep on burning Qurans in solidarity. He was doing so good. He was doing so well. Let's burn the Talmud, guys. Come on, let's get all together. Let's burn the Torah. And then when somebody gets somehow unalived, right? When you're critiquing Israel, that could happen, potentially. Then let's all keep on burning Torahs in solidarity. In solidarity, please. This is so ridiculous. You make yourselves victims. There would be no beef whatsoever if you wouldn't have started with it. Insane. He's posting, here is your L, Quran edition. See, you're provoking. This is not Islam critique. Not at all. You're mocking, you're provoking. And then you're wondering when something happens. Anyways. Okay. Exploring a new future, he says. With his cross. This is so funny. I mean, it's quite obvious that people like Ridwan would actually fall into worshipping a Jewish man. It's quite fitting, of course. It's not surprising whatsoever. It makes sense, actually. Good for him. It is quite congruent, of course. Anyhow, I can't find it right now, but somewhere he posted, I'm pretty sure, 99% sure, that he said as a counter move now, he will be burning Qurans as well. Wow. Such activism. Hey guys, give me money so I can buy Qurans, spend it on Muslims, on Muslim businesses, and then burn them. Oh yeah. So edgy. They're like emo kids, basically. Anyways, I had enough of him. The nose always does it for me. Not so much the nose itself, I mean, it's not pretty, but here, this portion between the eyes, it's quite unbelievable. It looks like it has been broken 5 times at least. It's amazing. Anyways, enough of that. Let me put this away and get back to the chat. Assalamu alaikum, guys. No holy book should be burned. Yeah, exactly, that's my point. That's exactly my point. That's what I appreciate about Russia. That Putin simply said, this has nothing to do with freedom of speech, right? The disrespect of scriptures that people hold dearly to their heart. Why would you allow such a thing? I mean, ultimately, this simply furthers the degeneration of society and the further devolution into atheism and liberalism. And that's what they truly want. They are agents of liberalism, of course. I'm not saying paid agents. They're useful idiots. They simply do the devil's bidding, if you will. And this is what they're being used for, to keep on promoting liberalism. And this is why they hate Islam so much, because Islam is the opposite of liberalism. It's the only religion that still adheres to its law. That's what it is. Look at the hypocrisy of Apis talking about Islam being violent and staying silent about the Old Testament. Listen, I get it, honestly, coming from a Christian perspective, I totally get it. It is because Christians do not care for the Old Testament. That's really what it is, okay? For Christianity to be a somewhat congruent religion internally, they should simply dismiss the Old Testament. That would be ideal. Just get rid of it, and that's that, right? Just start with the New Testament and done deal. Don't even bother anymore, because they do not adhere to the Old Testament at all. Zero. The law is not applicable for the Gentiles anymore. Jesus came to overthrow the law, apparently to fulfill the law, even though he didn't mean it the way that the Christians, or rather the way that Paul meant it. But nevertheless, point of the story is, no, I get them. I get the Christians out of their delusion. They simply do not adhere to the Old Testament whatsoever. So no matter what you're going to point out in the Old Testament, they will simply tell you that they're not following it. So, yeah. Bobby, why do you still have Orthodox Jesus on your Facebook profile? Do I? Yeah, that is because I'm never on Facebook. But thanks for the info. I'll check it out and delete it once I have the time. I'm never on Facebook. That's why. Yeah, because the Old Testament doesn't condone paganism simply, which destroys the essence of Christianity. Yeah, as I said already, the Christians simply adhere to the New Testament and to the interpretations of the Church Fathers. That's it. Because you cannot find a clear definition of the Trinity, for example, within the New Testament or in the Old Testament. Hence, you have the Church Fathers that interpret it as such. And that's it. They simply follow what the Church has established, as Jesus being, quote-unquote, the Son of God and God himself, and so on and so forth, and lovey-dovey, yada, 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 whatever. Let's all worship a Jewish man on a cross. Arnik, thank you very much for the super chat. Appreciate it. If you ever visit Malaysia, go to Islamic Arts Museum in Kuala Lumpur. Old Quran from all over Asia, West, East, Central, and some from Europe. Inshallah, bro, I'm really looking forward to it. I've been to Malaysia years ago. It must be, poor man, 7 years by now, I think. 7 years. Time passes so quickly. But back then I was in Kuala Lumpur quickly, and then I went to Georgetown, which is my favorite spot in Malaysia. And yeah, there I enjoyed a lot of durian. I love durian. I love Musang King especially. Fantastic. So inshallah, at some point, again. But yeah, this time it will be a different experience. Okay. Jesus was indeed Jewish. Yeah, most definitely culturally Jewish. But that doesn't mean that he was religiously Jewish the way that we understand Judaism nowadays. I mean, at his time, there was no Talmud the way that we understand it nowadays. Right? So there are a lot of later inventions. And Judaism shifted quite a bit over the years. But ethnically, if you will, you could make the claim. Culturally, you could make the claim. Paul never met Jesus. That's the thing that opened my eyes. Yeah, exactly. That's one of the things that opened my eyes. What opened my eyes, to be totally honest, is that the New Testament authors are anonymous. We don't know who they are, and they wrote the New Testament in Greek. We assume, however, that the majority of Jesus' followers were fishermen that then must have been illiterate, highly likely, and they wouldn't be capable of writing such works, such as the New Testament. And therefore the question is, who wrote it? When was it written? We don't really know. Chris says, no one is scared of you, Muslim. The thing is this, I don't think that any healthy human being wants anybody to be scared. It only comes from internal trauma and some sort of lack of self-confidence if you really want people to be scared. Nobody wants people to be scared. I'm not saying nobody. Nobody that is healthy, I should say again, wants people to be scared. And Islam shouldn't be about scaring people. Quite the opposite. It should be an invitation to the worship of one God alone. And everybody is invited. It's not like Judaism, for example, where you are either a Jew or a Goy. It's not like that. Anybody can become a Muslim, or rather return to being a Muslim, because we believe that we are born upon the fitrah, the natural predisposition. So therefore, it's kind of funny. Now you see that a lot with people like AP. Oh, we're not scared of you. We're not scared. We're going to keep on going. Which kind of shows that they are scared ultimately. Why otherwise say it? But the point of the story is nobody wants to scare you. Just stop burning Qurans and stop behaving like a child. That's pretty much it. If you have any productive critique, you have certain questions that you want to discuss, debate, do it. Thousands of people have done it before you. Thousands of people before you still are alive because they are respectful, normal people. Right? But yeah, it must be some sort of mental illness. You see that in people like David Wood that wanted to unalive his own father with a hammer. AP, extremely depressed looking character, can't blame him. Or a Hatun Tash, for example. They did the same thing, right? She was, I don't know if she was burning the Quran necessarily, but super disrespectful, screaming, shouting and whatnot. Very, very mentally ill, ultimately, people that are attracted to such behavior, obviously. So yet again, I cannot speak, of course, on behalf of all Muslims, but a healthy Muslim doesn't want to scare you. A healthy Muslim wants to invite you to Islam. That's pretty much what it is. Anyways. Jesus from Bani Israel, children of Israel. Yeah, technically. They say the lineage of David in the Bible, but at the same time, he was born without a father, so it's a bit tricky to track. Jesko, 5 pounds, salam from a German revert. I'm shocked as to how similar our journey is. May Allah bless you for your efforts and give you good health. Inshallah. Yeah, well, if our journey is similar, it might be due to Germany after all, right? Growing up in such an environment. In Deutschland, das kann schon dazu führen, ne? Chris, behind his anonymous profile, I urinated on the Quran today, come and get me. Ha ha ha. Lame. Gay. Post your address and your picture, and then somebody might come and get you if you want it so badly. But behind a anonymous profile, it's just gay. It's boring. Search for Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen. Hey Bobby Love from Pakistan, you always provide logical takes and are always consistent. Alhamdulillah, bro, thank you very much. I mean, ultimately, I'm a bit older now, yeah? And I went through many, many belief systems. And I came to the conclusion that Islam is the only logical worldview. I really mean this. Because ultimately, if we want to put it into a nutshell, It is illogical to believe that something came out of nothing, first and foremost, so atheism has to be discarded. Aside from my personal spiritual experiences where I encountered the divine, if you will, I know that God exists 100%. I know that my existence is fundamentally rooted in the existence of God. I know it because I experienced that, and I know that without God as the first cause, there would be no existence to begin with. So therefore, I'm very, very firm in that belief anyways, out of an experiential basis. But that being said, if you want to logically conclude, something out of nothing makes no sense at all. So therefore, atheism is to be discarded right away. And then basically you get into spiritualism, shamanism, religious beliefs, etc., you name it. And I went through pretty much all of them. And the only logical, coherent worldview amongst the religions is yet again Islam, because it proposes that there is only one God, yet again, and that is the logical conclusion, of course, because you need a superior creator, if you will, to creations, and everything that you can fathom and imagine is a creation or a mental construct. So therefore, God himself must be beyond that. A creator that creates time and space must be beyond time and space, so on and so forth. And it's only Islam that leads to that conclusion ultimately and gives evidence for it. It's quite amazing. Coming back again to my spiritual experiences back in the day in the Amazon rainforest and whatnot, I had this experience, and you don't have to believe this, and I'm not promoting those substances, but nevertheless, I had an experience where I completely realized that God is like nothing within his creation. He's of a totally different fabric, if you will, even though this word doesn't give it justice. Of a different material, if you will, but yet again, this word doesn't give it justice. It's impossible to describe. Everything in this world of matter is nothing like the creative force behind it. And once I read the Quran and I saw that the description of Allah was that he's like nothing in his creation, it was just absolute confirmation to what I experienced prior to it, and I knew that it was true. Meanwhile, reading the Bible, and they try to explain then via the church fathers that it is supposed to be read in a certain way, where I come to the conclusion that God was a man walking on earth, but he's eternal at the same time prior to making this human experience and whatnot. It's just so incoherent, right? So therefore, logical consistency, in my opinion, comes through Islam truly, because Islam is the only logical worldview. That's just what it is. It is absolutely irrational to be an atheist, and it is obviously irrational to be a Christian that believes in three as one, etc. And it is irrational and racist as well to believe in Judaism. Sorry, YouTube, but it's true. Because Judaism proposes that there is one selected group of people, and they are the chosen ones, and nobody else. Nobody else, right? Everybody else is just a Gentile, a Goy, and they have a very, very special place. So this is very ethnocentric, and when we talk about other religions, such as, what's the name again of those black Hebrew Israelites, which are, of course, again, piggybacking from Judaism, or even if you look into the nation of Islam, etc., you name it, where it becomes so ethnocentric, we can look at it logically and see, okay, this is simply a racist, nationalistic, ethnocentric movement, right? And you don't have that in Islam. Yet again, Islam is the only religion that comes for everybody alike and brings them back to their natural predisposition. Christianity is another evangelizing religion, but what is it inviting to? If you haven't heard the message of Jesus, you're supposed to burn in hell. How does this make sense? If you don't hear the message of a Jewish man being sacrificed on a cross for God, so God can forgive us, but meanwhile the man is God as well, only then you can be forgiven. It's extremely irrational, of course. Anyhow, that's why, ultimately, alhamdulillah for Islam. Nuggles TV says, anybody that loves Islam just hasn't read the book. Yeah, well, how do you explain this then? I used to hate Islam because I haven't read the book. And then I read the book, and then I became a Muslim. So how do you explain that? Very interesting, right? Prashasaya Gautam, I and the Father are one. Your name sounds very Hindu. Bob, the more you ban them, the more they're gonna continue, just like Steve rightly pointed out before. Our reactions is what pushes them to insult us. That's why ignoring is best. I'm not banning anybody, to be totally honest. I have moderators that do that. I don't. Bob says, could we do an old classic reaction? Depends to what. Did you study Islamic epistemology during your journey to Islam? No, not really. I didn't study specifically. I simply read the Quran, read a few hadith, read the Seerah. Simply inquired about Islam, talked to certain scholars, to a few imams, students of knowledge, etc., etc. So it's not that I specifically studied. Allah is like nothing we can imagine or comprehend. Exactly. It's completely beyond your imagination because your imagination and your thought process is still bound, of course, to this physical realm, to your biological brain, which is found in time and space. But Allah is beyond time and space, and this is why you cannot comprehend it, no matter how you look at it. And that's why ultimately I make the statement that the Trinity, for example, is blasphemous, of course. It's blasphemous because it is essentially depicting God in a way. Prophet's diet is interesting. Yeah, I made a video on that. And it is very interesting. Yes, very healthy. Predominantly meat and fruit. In which country did you become Muslim? In Thailand, out of all countries. Super unexpected to myself. But yeah, it happened in Thailand. The land of the Buddha, after all. Let's be ready for Ramadan. Yeah, inshallah, man. Let's be ready. Very, very soon coming up. Somebody's asking how my parents reacted. Yeah, I talked about this multiple times. I'm not going to talk about it again, guys. You know my story about my parents, etc., etc. Do we have any moderators today? I don't know if anybody's online, to be honest. But I don't mind. We can have a discussion. It's cool. Either way. Would you move to other countries? Which countries do you suggest to do hijrah? I haven't seen enough countries to suggest hijrah, and matter of fact, I wouldn't suggest it to anybody anyways, because you have to like it. That's what it boils down to. Oftentimes people ask me, because I live in Thailand, hey bro, do you think I should move to Thailand? And so then I ask, okay, have you been to Thailand? And they tell me no. This is insanity to me. You have to come, visit the country, and then make your decision. After all, it is a vibe. It truly is. You have to see if it resonates with you. It's not something you can really rationalize, because there are certain countries, and I can give you all the benefits and all the upsides, And so many arguments of why this is a great country on paper, but you simply do not feel it, right? So if you're talking about, let's say, I've seen it lately, there's this discussion for digital nomads, and you could call myself that as well, I guess. I can work from anywhere, practically. The question was where to live, right? Aside from Islam now. And people were talking about Mexico, about Thailand, about Dubai, about Bali, etc., you name it. And then ultimately, it really came down to the person. It didn't come down to the budget. There were certain people that were very driven, and they want to live in Dubai because it motivated them to even do greater and to do more business, etc., you name it. But then you have multimillionaires and even billionaires almost living in Bali and just chilling in their little bungalow, right? So it really comes down to you. It comes down to what you enjoy, what you like. Nobody can make that decision for you. You will have to travel after all, check out the countries, and then make the decision. Of course, there are certain things that you have to take into consideration, such as visa policies, etc., depending on your nationality and what you can do there. But yeah, with Thailand, it's pretty much black and white. Either you love it or you hate it. That's really what it boils down to. And the majority ends up loving it, but there's some people that still do hate it for whatever reason. So it's not for everybody. And with Muslim countries, there are so many different Muslim countries, right? You have the Emirates, you have Saudi, then you have Malaysia, you have Indonesia, then you have European countries such as Bosnia, Albania, Turkey is half in Europe. So you have so many different countries. You have to visit yourself. There's absolutely nothing I can tell you about that at all. The Old Testament also mentions the Trinity. Yeah, sure, bro. Sure does. This is such a humongous scope. It's unbelievable. People that say, Christians that say that the Trinity is found in the Old Testament are Christians that say that the Trinity is found in the Quran as well. It's the same people. Yeah, people are mentioning the rulers of Arabian countries, etc., etc. It really depends on how much this bothers you personally. I really have to say this. Ultimately, if I want to get upset about rulers, about politicians, about whatnot, I could do that potentially in every single country. I could get upset if I wanted to about the king of Thailand now. But why would I? As long as I can migrate to a specific country and my life is secure there, my life is good, and the life of my family is good, I don't understand why I have to become a political activist out of a sudden and critique certain people in a certain position that I'm not in. So yeah, therefore, I'm not the guy that is screaming at the Arabian rulers that they have to run their countries in a different way and whatnot, or at the Thai king for that matter, or the German chancellor, if you will. I really don't care. So as long as I like a specific country, I respect the country the way that it is, and it's all good with me. Why have you stopped ketosis, carnivore? What are the benefits of not being in ketosis anymore compared to the benefits of being in ketosis? Would really appreciate a detailed answer. Yeah, I'm not going to give you a detailed answer now because it's going to take too much time. But the fact of the matter is that I have no benefits of being in ketosis in terms of health outcomes. And this was truly important for myself because of specific autoimmune conditions. And hence I tried pretty much everything there is, be it fasting, be it ketosis, be it one meal a day, blah, blah, blah. So I did all of those things. And matter of fact is, ketosis does not benefit me. Quite the opposite. I find, according to my blood test as well, that my testosterone is going down and that my thyroid function is decreasing too. So I simply have no benefits of long-term ketosis. 2 to 3 weeks is fine, but after that, I simply keep on going down, losing a lot of weight, no matter how much I eat. Now people will say, yeah, well, you have to track and you have to eat more. Man, the thing is, I've been eating the same calories as with carbs, but keto-wise, I have to eat even more, and there's only so much steak I can eat per day. I love meat, I really enjoy it, but there is a balance of things as well, and I don't like to sit there and eat a 3-kilogram steak 3 times per day. It's too much for me. I just don't enjoy my life at all. And so therefore, when it comes down to other things such as sport performance as well, I perform much better when I have carbohydrates. Even when it comes down to electrolyte balance, imbalance, in ketosis, I simply have always issues with that, with hydration. Yeah. It was even so bad that when I was in hardcore ketosis that I shrunk 2 centimeters because of constant dehydration. And living in Thailand, I don't understand why I would abstain from coconut water. Can you see this? Like this maybe? Coconut water and certain fresh fruits. Yeah, that's what I do. Black seed oil. Yeah, I have black seed oil here too. Yeah, balanced meals should be natural. Yeah, I mean, it's balanced, but it's very simple. So my meals nowadays, they're predominantly still steak and rice. And believe you me, I looked into rice. Rice has higher arsenic levels, so wouldn't it be better to replace it with only fruits? I did it. I ate only fruits and meat as well for a long time, and my health declines. After a while, my body cannot maintain. So coming from the Balkan, from a farming family, I believe that we've been farmers for generations, and we produce amylase, which is an enzyme in our saliva that breaks down starches after all. So therefore, I believe it's just in my DNA. I have to eat starches. Without starches, it doesn't work. Noel Root says, love your content, brother. You played a big part in my conversion. I was relatively liberal, and you provided a different and more sensible perspective. I've been a Muslim for a year as of January. Alhamdulillah, man. I'm really, really happy for you. Liberalism is absolute poison, and the real believers amongst the conservative Christians, they do understand what Islam stands for, and inshallah they will revert to Islam as well. Because nations like America have seen how liberalism has destroyed their country, ultimately. I don't think Bobby ever claimed that his videos is only about Islam. No, otherwise it would be called Bobby Islam. It's called Bobby's Perspective, and I talk pretty much about anything I want to, especially on live streams, of course. I literally just talk about what I want. Yeah, it's not like a prepared stream or anything. I'm not doing a show. I'm simply talking about what I want, or what you guys want, rather. Ask me any question. And again, guys, if you want to support the channel, send a super chat. It goes a long way. It helps. Maybe you should open up a fundraiser on GoFundMe. Like this. So I can make 82,000 as well. That would be great. Maybe I should flip the script and attack Islam. Please, guys, help me. Please. I'm afraid for my life. Bobby, do you still do your martial arts and stuff? Yeah, I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, yeah. Martial arts and stuff. I hope Ronaldo wins the World Cup. I have no idea about football. I don't care. Bobby cooks some meat dishes instead of eating steak all the time. Like what? I like steak. Assalamu alaikum, Bobby. Wa alaikum assalam. Have you tasted durian? How does it taste? It tastes like heaven if it is good durian. Durian is my favorite fruit, even though it's an understatement to simply call it fruit. I believe it's a blessing of God. It's unbelievable. Durian, if it's good, tastes like ice cream, like vanilla custard, a little eggy, and it has a bit of this slight scent, like passing by a gas station. Yeah, really, smells a little bit like gasoline if it's good durian. Slightly bitter. It's insane. It's the best dessert on this planet. Nothing can compete with it. No baklava either. Nothing can compete with durian if it's good. Bobby, what do you cook your steak with? I use tallow. I use tallow as well. Just tallow. Tallow, what I do is very simple. I heat up the pan super, super hot. Blazing hot. And then before I put the steak in, I put a bunch of tallow in. Once the tallow melts, which happens in the matter of 2 seconds or so because the pan is already hot, I drop the steak into it. And I use even a smash burger smasher, I guess, that's how you call it, this little round plate, and press the steak onto the pan for not even a minute, honestly, maybe like 30-40 seconds or so. Then I flip it around, same 30-40 seconds, and then I just move it 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds, and then I take it out and let it sit for roughly 4 minutes, and then I slice it with a butcher knife. I put on Himalayan pink salt lately. I like that. I like sea salt as well. And that's how I usually eat it. Sometimes I add some steak spices to it. I have this, I ordered it here. I don't know exactly what the brand is, but it says no nasties. So there are no preservatives in it. There's no MSG in it. Just regular spices. Like paprika, stuff like that. Whatever. Sometimes I put that on top. Yeah, and then I just eat it with rice predominantly, sometimes just the steak. That's how I eat it. And before you ask, my favorite cut would be the ribeye steak. I really enjoy the meat to fat ratio. Sirloin, I rather make tartare out of sirloin. Bill, thank you very much, bro, for the €2. Appreciate it. Thanks for your answer. Didn't you feel better mentally on ketosis? No, I didn't. At first, yes. The first week is tough, and then you enter ketosis, and then all of a sudden I had like 2 great weeks. Everything is phenomenal. I feel like an Ubermensch. But then after a while, I just get depressed. I really start feeling enormously bad. And so therefore, at the moment, I'm just over-dieting. I'm not dieting anymore. I eat exactly what I want. But what I want happens to be predominantly steaks and rice. Today my breakfast was... actually today I treated myself. I ordered some food. I had sourdough bread, 1 slice of sourdough bread with avocado and with scrambled eggs on top. That was my breakfast. I wanted to enjoy my Sunday. And then my next meal was steak and rice. And then my next meal was steak and rice. And then before the stream here, I was kind of hungry and I ate beef jerky. Just plain beef jerky, that's it. And now after the stream, I'm gonna eat, you guessed it, steak and rice. Yeah. Thank you very much. This is actually the biggest super chat today so far. Thank you very much. Let me give you an applause. By Shadely Diab, $20. Thank you very much. Salam, assalam. I'm thinking about starting a Dawah reaction channel and compiling clips of top arguments from Dawah vids and revert story highlights. Could I use some from your channel? Absolutely. Go for it. Why not? I said that before, you know, guys, if you want to use my content for reactions or for compilations or whatnot, that is totally fine. The only thing that I do not approve of is when people take my content and re-upload it to their channel. That is illegal. Now, but for real, that's of course kind of disingenuous, and I don't understand why anybody does it. But I've seen it quite a bit, especially with my first video back then, with my I read the Quran video. People just download the video and upload it on their Facebook pages and whatnot. It was crazy. And generated millions of clicks outside of my channel. Not cool. But anyways, yeah, if you want to take bits and pieces and you want to react to my content or just, as I said, use a part of it, sure, absolutely, go for it. No worries. Thank you very much for the super chat. Appreciate it. Steak and rice for the win. Absolutely, man. It's my go-to meal, 100%. Your view about Hahikachu and Brancatella. I posted under the first video, I assume that was the first video, that Jake made about Hahikachu. And I don't know exactly what I posted, but I said something of on the lines of the beef that nobody wanted or nobody needed or something like that. I find it enormously cringeworthy to have this discussion out in the open. And matter of fact, I believe we are at a point where there is nothing that Jake or Daniel can say to please each other's worldviews, if you will. There's nothing. It's beyond that. And Jake simply couldn't bite his tongue for whatever reason. I find it kind of strange that he had to keep on repeating and had to keep on attacking Daniel over and over and over and over again. I don't understand it. I think they did a good job at the PBD podcast. They were good representatives of Islam. So good teamwork. And I just find the whole beef unnecessary and stupid and silly. Yeah. Tony Wright, $5. Thank you very much. Hello, Bobby. What's your take on people saying Abrahamic religions stealing from Sumerian mythology and kings such as Gilgamesh? So first and foremost, which aspects are stolen? You say now the Epic of Gilgamesh. That's the main argument, or other things? So the point of the story is, if we look, for example, into the flood, right? Which we find within the Old Testament, Noah and the flood, you find a very, very, very similar stories to it, without mentioning Noah specifically, all across the globe, right? Everywhere. In South America and whatnot, you have stories everywhere coming up about a specific flood and a cataclysmic event, if you will. So therefore, if there are certain stories found in Sumerian tablets or whatnot, and then they are repeated in the Quran or in the Torah or whatnot, I don't find that surprising whatsoever. If it happened, it happened. If it's real, it's real. And then you will, of course, find it as well within those scriptures. That's just how I see it. So for me, back then I was still a Christian. When there was more and more proof coming out about that specific flood, and even from camps of non-religious people, but rather spiritual people and conspiracy theorists and whatnot, ancient alien type of guys, for me there was even more confirmation that that scripture came from God, or at least partially, because it described exactly that event, right? So it goes hand in hand and confirms those previous texts. It's basically the same argument when they claim, yeah, well, the Quran is copying from the Bible. We are assuming that God sent prophets to specific lands and they came with a specific message, and therefore, of course, you will find that story, or those stories rather, repeating again in later scriptures. They're just commonsensical, to me at least. And therefore, I don't worry about Sumerian tablets or whatnot, Sumerian mythology. I was into it, I think it was 2011 or so, 2010, before the whole Mayan calendar 2012 ordeal. And that's when I was really interested in it. But nowadays, if there is any specific story that is now mirrored in later scripture, for me that is just more confirmation that those stories are indeed real. And that's all. Demi Berserker, Bobby, your view on Athari, Ashari, Maturidi, Akida, and which do you follow? I talked about this briefly, and I want to make it very, very clear. So I am of the firm conviction that all of those three Akida schools of thought, if you will, are part of Islam. Period. That's how I see it. I see all of them as pure classical Islam. I know that many atheists don't see it that way. Maybe not many, but plenty of atheists don't see it that way, and they want to exclude Asharis or Maturidis, for example. For me, that's not the case whatsoever. I see all of those three as legitimate Akida schools of thought, if you will. I, however, cannot make the claim that I follow one in particular and that I'm in that camp, because I'm not. It's that simple. So it would go way above my pay grade to claim that I studied every single school of thought to such an extent to now say confidently I follow this Akida to 100%, and that's that. I learn from all, I discard none, and that's pretty much where I'm at. However, and this is what you really want to hear, of course, I resonate more, let's put it that way, with the description of Allah when it comes down to the Ashari, excuse me, I had you there for a second, the Ashari or the Maturidi school of thought. Because the transcendence of Allah is more emphasized, in my opinion, in those perspectives. And that's all. So, yeah, this is what it comes down to. I would sympathize more with those perspectives. But yet again, all three are valid perspectives. That's how I see it. And, yeah, I don't put myself in a specific camp. Okay. The world is after Muslims, so stop with this. We are this and we are that. I'm a Muslim, period. I will never say anything else. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand with the question before that with Jake and Daniel. For me, it's unnecessary, ultimately unnecessary beef that doesn't have to be discussed out in the open anyways. And I mean, if you really think about it logically, right, what it boils down to. What is a Muslim? Right? A Muslim is someone that submits to Allah, that believes in one God alone, and then inshallah doesn't commit shirk anymore due to that doctrine, due to that understanding. And yeah, follows the pillars of Islam ultimately, right? So that's basically what a Muslim is. So I don't think that it was mandatory during the time of the Prophet ﷺ to say, I am this, I am that, and if you have a slightly different perspectives on a specific attribute of God, then out of the fold of Islam you go, kafir and whatnot. I find that an extreme, ultimately, that should be left to scholars to discuss and debate and come to conclusions. But as Muslims, as a brotherhood, if you will, that shouldn't divide us whatsoever. As long as you believe that there's only one God worthy of worship and Muhammad is his messenger, may peace be upon him, you're a Muslim, right? That's how I see it. So the overcomplications and specifics of Akida questions, they should be left to people that are A, qualified in it, B, potentially interested in it, but then it shouldn't lead to a divide at all. However, I guess it's, again, human nature and will always lead to division. I personally just find it saddening is not necessarily the right terminology. Annoying, I guess. Yeah. I'm a born Muslim and I never think or heard about any of those things. I'm curious, but I'm too occupied with everyday life. Yeah, it's quite amazing. When I travel to certain Muslim countries, nobody truly knew about Athari, Ashari, Maturidi, etc. And they were all born Muslims. And that is totally normal, I believe. You don't necessarily need to know about it. But online it seems that if you don't follow a particular one, then all of a sudden you're not a Muslim. And then I would say that the majority of people then simply, by that standard, wouldn't be Muslim. Because they have no idea about it. Such a shame, all the infighting. Yeah, it is what it is. Nuggles TV. Bobby, would you chop off hands for stealing and stone for misconduct? Please reply to this. Yes, absolutely. Of course. Why not? I find it so funny that people somehow see that as atrocious. You have the death penalty via electric chair in America. I think that's pretty barbaric, if you ask me. But I'm not against it. But nevertheless, if you want to speak about barbarism, I think an electric chair is as barbaric as it gets. But anyhow, when it comes down to chopping off hands, I personally am not a thief, nor do I teach my children to be thieves. And within the Sharia, and I'm not a scholar, but as far as I understand it, we're not talking about some kid on the street that is starving and stole something. Of course, their justice has to be served. We're talking about a man of the ripe age that has all his faculties together and still goes out and steals. So stealing is sinful behavior and an evil behavior that corrupts society. And when I look at the state of America, it would be much better if they would have such laws where thieves actually would get their hands chopped off. Then they might reduce crime rates within America because it's out of hand. It's insane. No pun intended. Out of hand. Anyways, my point of the story is I don't see how that is some sort of mock at Islam or, hey, please answer now. What do you say about that? Huh? I am all for it, for sure. Dubai, for example, is one of the safest places on earth in the Emirates. You can do what you want. Nothing gets stolen. And yeah, that is due to stricter enforcement of the rules. That's just how it is. It's funny, if you are a God-fearing, law-abiding person that has good intentions, you have nothing to fear when it comes down to Sharia. At all. Zero. Right? But if you're an adulterous thief, then you might. So, if you're worried about it, ask yourself why you're worried. I'm not worried at all. All good. Nuggles is obsessed with me. Bobby, are you a murderer if you stone someone to death? Please reply. You can ask the Old Testament for that as well. And matter of fact, you can ask the same question, as I already mentioned, about the guy, the executionist in America that pressed the button for the electric chair. Right? Are you a murderer then? So when we're talking about that, I would say, no, you're not a murderer. You are a piece of a system, ultimately, that tries to better society. Again, I'm not talking about Islam here. I'm talking about, let's say, the American justice system. Somebody went out and did detestable acts that I cannot speak of here on YouTube, and then they get the death penalty. Right? There is a judge involved, there are lawyers involved, there's prison time involved and whatnot, right? There are many, many steps. And then at some point, the executionist comes and presses a button. That's all. So I wouldn't say that this executionist now is the murderer here and that the sin of murder befalls him. He is executing commands of a system, right? And so therefore, people that execute the Sharia, I don't see them as murderers either. They are simply fulfilling God's law on earth. That's how I see that. I think you shouldn't punish. Nuggles says you should discipline and reprogram the mind like normal humans, but if you want to chop off hands, sure. Okay, what kind of normal humans? So if you look into the prison system, it has failed miserably, and it fails producing normal human beings. Quite the opposite. Many guys that come out of prison, and I have friends like that, they come out and they're damaged for life. They're not at all capable of finding their way back into the system. So therefore, I wouldn't say that we have any better solutions here as humans that we came up with over the years. Right? Not at all. So chopping off hands, and yet again, it's not like hands are just being chopped off left and right and it's happening over and over again. There are many, many conditions that have to be met, of course. But nevertheless, as a specific punishment that is possible, it instills fear into people not to steal, which is good. You don't want to have a society of thieves and pists, etc., etc. I have children. I would rather live in a safe environment for their sake, and therefore I would rather live under Sharia, of course. Sure. Scoreboard, Saudi Arabia, virtually no prisons and virtually no crime. I don't know if there are no prisons. I can't speak on that subject. Bobby, Kabuli Pulao is a good meat and rice dish, tribe. Okay, inshallah. Kabuli Pulao. Pulao sounds very, very familiar. Balik Pulao. That's a place in Malaysia. I went to Balik Pulao. Very nice. Does it come from there? Bobby, do you still have your superbike? No, unfortunately not, bro. Unfortunately not. Inshallah, one day again. What do you think about Conor McGregor attacking Khabib for covering his wife? Meanwhile, he cheats on his own wife. First and foremost, I don't know any of those guys personally, so I cannot speak about it in detail. I can only have my assumptions. When it comes down to him cheating on his wife, I mean, it's kind of out in the open now that he had sexual intercourse with other women, but I don't think that he is actually cheating on his wife. Hear me out. From an Islamic perspective, this is all adultery, and all of this is frowned upon, obviously. But when it comes down to their minds, I haven't heard or seen his wife having any issues with him as a successful male, so to speak, hooking up with other women. It seems as, and I don't know it, but it seems as if they have some sort of agreement where he can basically do what he wants as a rich, maybe almost billionaire type of dude now that accomplished all of it for himself and for his family. Good for them. So I believe that his wife tolerates him doing certain acts. That's how it seems like. Right, but that being said, his attack on Khabib, it's not about Islam. It's simply that he is still bitter about Khabib. And to be totally honest, it's very, very tough to watch. I, back in the day, really back in the day, I think 2011, 2010, saw Conor McGregor's rise, and it was amazing. Right, let's be completely honest here. It was phenomenal to watch. He was so skilled. He brought something to MMA that we haven't seen before. His animalistic movements back in the day. Bruce Lee type of style even. There was this thin, skinny Conor. Very hungry. Just this from rags to riches type of story. Underdog story. Unbelievable. Really, really amazing. What he did for the UFC, nobody else has done. He built it up to mainstream and beyond. Truly, truly amazing and very, very exciting to watch. So as I said, 2011 roughly, It was the first time that I saw Conor fight. And then when I was traveling through Australia, I was working on construction sites. And on Sundays, we would watch the UFC in the pub back then. I didn't drink alcohol neither, but we were chilling there. I was eating chicken parm. Anyways, we were watching the UFC on Sundays, and it was exciting, man. Like, you could see that the whole nation of Australia just got together, many Irish people, and they were so in awe with what Conor is creating there. And again, it became truly, truly mainstream. All of a sudden, women were watching the UFC. That wasn't the case before. So I really enjoyed his rise to fame. And when he was fighting Khabib, I was still kind of rooting for him, to be totally honest. I still really liked the guy. He came from humble upbringings, as I said. But Khabib totally broke him. Totally broke him. And it was tough to watch because McGregor at that point was the man. He truly was the man. He had this aura about him of, being almost undefeatable, right? The mystic Meg he was predicting when he would defeat people, etc., etc. It was really, really nice to watch. And when Khabib broke him, he broke him physically and mentally. And he was never the same after that. Never the same. And then it just went downhill. Then he broke his leg again, Dustin Poirier. I can never pronounce his name. Dustin Poirier, whatever. And you simply see how he is now a shell of himself. Back in the day, watching a Conor McGregor interview was exciting. He was so snappy, so witty. He would come up with interesting one-liners and whatnot. Who the fuck is that guy, etc. And nowadays, you can clearly see that he has a drug issue, drug problem, alcohol problem. He's not the same anymore. It's very, very sad to watch. He's not the same person anymore. And we all age, we all change. But he truly destroyed himself. I don't think that he ever stomached this loss to Khabib. Ever. It's, kind of disgusting to see. But anyways, because of that, he's bitter to this very day, it seems. And every chance that he gets, he's always attacking Khabib via Twitter. But it won't change anything on the outcome that Khabib defeated him. He destroyed him. Physically, mentally, spiritually. Conor McGregor is not here anymore. He's not that Conor that we, maybe not you guys, maybe not everybody, but the original Conor McGregor fans that we really, really loved. We loved that guy back then. It was amazing to watch. It's a shame. Michael Venom Page is Muslim now. Yes, exactly. And he won. That fight was... it's tough. It's very, very tough to fight against MVP. Very elusive. You could see that Shutter Bullet simply couldn't get into the right range to land anything of substance. Very, very tough to watch. In Australia, I was in Sydney first, and then I went to Western Australia, to Perth, and then to Darwin. Guys, if you want to support the channel, as I said many times, shoot the super chat. Hey, where did you get that name, Bobby? Actually, I got that name, Bobby, from an ex-girlfriend. Yeah. I didn't hear about Conor McGregor until he lost to Khabib. Yeah, that's the thing. He lost to Khabib. When was that? 2020 or so? I'm not too sure. But I followed him since 2011, roughly. Is UFC halal though? No, it's not halal. Do you think John Jones the greatest fighter of all time? Yes, for sure. Come on, Bobby boy, I was watching you since the come up. What come up though? That's the question. I think I started YouTube 2016. Something like that. Yeah, Conor was special back then. He really was. It was amazing. I used to be a fan of Conor too. It's such a shame what happened to him. Yeah, really, really. You see him now and it's not him anymore. It's a shame. Drugs can do that. Bobby, what do you think about Muslims doing UFC whilst the Prophet ﷺ forbid hitting the head? Again, I'm not here to give a fatwa. Hitting the head is haram, I would say, with all the evidence presented. I think it was Mohammed Hijab that wanted to say that hitting a non-Muslim in the head wouldn't be seen as haram. I personally have certain technical questions, such as when the Muslims went to war and they had to kill people, obviously. What was happening there? Like, would you say it is haram hitting somebody in the head there for self-defense? I don't know. I personally don't think so. So therefore, you could make the argument potentially to fight somebody off, a non-Muslim hitting in the head, then could be seen as permissible. Who knows? But all of that being said, that's not what the UFC is. The UFC itself is an entertainment sport with advertisement for gambling, alcohol, you have half-naked women running around, etc., ring girls. So therefore, there are many aspects of it that are most definitely haram, no matter how you want to pull it. But that being said, what do I think about the Muslims participating there? I have to say that the Muslims, such as Khabib and Islam and Umar, etc., I would say that they're very appealing representatives of Islam for the youth, and there could be a positive outcome seeing such people, because it takes them away from the streets, it motivates people to do sports, and yeah, they're somewhat manly role models. I mean, ultimately, it is like a Mujahideen light, if you will, because we don't have those war heroes like Khattab or whatnot. And therefore, I believe that this is like a replacement therapy for those people to see Muslim warriors in the octagon. So therefore, I do understand the appeal behind it. And to be totally honest, I think that Khabib has been conducting himself truly like a gentleman all his career through. And matter of fact, I know for a fact that he led, by the grace of Allah, many people to Islam as well. So when people see that somebody is so disciplined, so focused only on God, on winning, they see that as something very, very positive. And therefore, there could be a benefit in it after all. Yeah. It's tough to say, man, because we're living in such a disturbed time. It is such a hectic time with so much degeneracy that I wouldn't be obsessing about the UFC subject too much. Let me just put it that way. If you want to be a purist, and you want to say, but this is haram, fair, of course, then done deal. But I see many nuances and grayscales in this day and age, because this society is so extremely fallen and so degenerate that we need a couple of little light bulbs here and there that can invite back to Islam. So people get upset, for example, about certain ex-rappers now doing nasheeds and then whatever, it sounds like a beat and blah, blah. I get it. It's all not perfectly halal the way that you would love it to be, but this society is far from halal, and therefore those little things that remind of Islam, bring back to Islam, I believe are very, very beneficial nevertheless. Bobby, why do you think people try to attack reverts as cloud chasing when they convert to Islam? Yeah, why? It's just a natural defense mechanism ultimately. They try to discard it because they cannot accept that Islam could potentially be the truth, right? I saw it back in the day. I wasn't a Muslim myself. I was still watching David Wood and the likes. And it was Dawood Kim, I think his name is, right? The Korean guy that reverted to Islam. And they were saying exactly that. They were just claiming, look at this guy. He's just doing it for clout. Oh, now he has many cute Muslim Asian girls or something like that after him, and he's getting all this love and blah, blah, blah. So they just blamed the guy for clout chasing ultimately. And now look at him, right? He went to Mecca. He's building a mosque in Korea. It's quite amazing, right? So I believe it's just a natural defense mechanism. They cannot help themselves, and the only thing that makes sense in their mind is, oh, there must be cloud chasing. So when I see an ex-Muslim, for example, I don't think necessarily about cloud chasing. I mean, obviously, if you create YouTube videos, you want people to see them. You want people to watch your content. That is just normal. But not in the sense of that they're doing it because of it. I do see that they're using their specific position now in order to generate views as well. Sure, and nothing wrong with that. But I wouldn't say that they necessarily gave up Islam for views or for clicks or for money. Yeah, and it's the same the other way around. So yeah, it's just a weak defense for those people. They can't fathom, oh really, somebody genuinely accepted Islam? How can that be? With another super chat, thank you very much. By Spartacus, good to see you, brother. $2, thank you. Bobby, react to Bryce Mitchell's take. I can't, bro, I can't. By no means. I cannot do that on YouTube. By the way, he already publicly apologized. So you see who's having control over him and his career. We know who owns the UFC as well. If you don't, then look it up. But yeah, that being said, his take, I cannot talk about it here on YouTube. No chance. How about Andrew Apostate? That's hilarious, man. Andrew Apostate. That's funny, dude. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not here to take fear to anyone. I said it in my video as well. He's kind of doing the job for us. It's very unfortunate. Every take that I've seen of his about Islam or Muslims in Europe specifically, it's always a huge L. I don't know what's wrong with that guy. No idea why he hates Islam so much all of a sudden. Yeah, I'm not bothered by it. So as long as he doesn't, again, openly attack Muslims and Islam, I'm not going to respond. But if he does, then I kind of have to. Is this going to be your second Ramadan? No, third one already. Same asks, what's wrong with asking questions? How come Islam is the only religion that objects to reject? That's not true at all. Islam invites you to ask questions. Matter of fact, my revert story was all about that. I had plenty of questions, and sheikhs and students of knowledge were all open to answer my questions. That's really what it was all about. So therefore, asking questions respectfully in a normal manner, no worries, go for it. Ask any question you might have. But burning Qurans on the street, maybe not the best idea. This could be called chilling with Bobby. Yeah, pretty much, man. We're really chilling at the moment. Matter of fact, my family my wife and kids had to visit my wife's family real quick. And therefore, yeah, I'm alone here, just chilling, bro. That's why I'm having some time here. Time with the boys. Online. Enjoying it. Bobby, when do you plan on doing Hajj? When I'm older, inshallah. First I want to do Umrah, so I'm not planning on Hajj yet. First I want to do Umrah, and then we'll see. Because Hajj is such a lifetime goal for so many born Muslims. I feel kind of arrogant in skipping the line, so to speak. 1 second, guys. I have to just get up and turn off the AC. It's getting too cold in here. Just give me a second. I'll be right back. Yo, yo, yo. Okay. Here we are again. Bobby, let's do Umrah together, inshallah. Ask your followers to join you in Umrah. Yeah, people told me that, to do that, but I'm not too sure if I will. I've never been, so for me it's going to be a deeply spiritual experience either way. And yeah, therefore I want to make it special and be really concentrating on the place, on Mecca. And yeah, if I have a lot of subscribers around me, I will be kind of distracted, you know? So my first Umrah, let's see inshallah how it goes. I'm not planning on making it a subscriber meetup in Mecca. Okay, 1 second. Earlier, when Andrew so-called reverted, I would call him out, and I said my gut says he isn't genuine. I know people like him, they can't get over themselves long enough, and I got called crazy over it. Again, as I said previously, people that I haven't met in private, I can't really speak on them. So therefore, I just don't know him, I don't know his intentions particularly, and this is why I only react to what he presents online. And yeah, the latest things with his broth party attacking Muslim migrants ultimately is a no-go as a Muslim, not cool. So this is what I react to. The rest, Allahu Alam. Brother Bobby, you said you live in Thailand. I just want to know, are Thailand people racist about Islam? I don't know. That's why I asked this question. Miss Speedy and Mr. Brown. So the thing is this. We don't know what Thai people really think, right? I don't speak the language. So therefore, are there some Thai people that are potentially racist? I guess so. Must be. But I can only say that the old king was for religious freedom within Thailand and apparently even financed building specific mosques. That's what I heard. So therefore, we have a big Muslim community here in Thailand. The somewhat racist or political divide would be that many Muslims here coming from the south are ethnically, that's what they say, not Thai, but Malay rather. And therefore, it could be that some Thais are racist against Malay because some people, they wanted this southern part of Thailand to actually belong to Malaysia, which would make sense demographically if they're truly ethnically Malay, whatever that means. It kind of reminds me of my home story in the Balkan, you know, where those are Serbs, those are Bulgarians, those are Macedonians, those are whatever, dude. In the end, I see them all as one people anyhow. But yeah, the point of the story is I haven't witnessed any racism per se. Many ethnic Thais are reverting to Islam as well, alhamdulillah. And it's a very, very peaceful atmosphere around here, catering to all religions ultimately. And it's a peaceful get-together. It truly is. We have Hindus here, Buddhists, obviously, Christians, many churches around here, many masjids as well. So all in all, just a very peaceful environment. It's cool. It's nice. Balkanized Southeast Asia. Yeah, man, now that I'm here, right, as a Balkan guy, I have to tell them. But I would really like to see, actually, let me just look this up. Maybe they have some shorts. I want to see the DNA test of a Thai and of a Malay, how different they truly are. Let me see if they have it. 1 second. DNA test, Thai. It'll be interesting to see. Cool, we have something. Nice. See, that's what I'm saying, man. This is really out of personal interest. That's what I do in my live streams. Whatever I want to see, want to do, I do anyhow. So bear with me, guys. Now, this is a Thai DNA test. Can you see this? Yeah. Okay. Chai Kwong, you are 50% Thai and Cambodian. See? So that's already matched into one category. 33% Chinese and Vietnamese. 13% Filipino, Indonesian, and Malay. 2% Finnish. And there you go. Yeah, so there you see it as well, that they mesh together. Okay. That they mesh together Cambodian and Thai DNA, which is not surprising whatsoever. And meanwhile, you have this divide, of course. Nation states have been created. Ethnicities have been separated in different nation states. And it's so funny, man. As I said, I'm coming from the Balkan. So you see the Serb being super nationalistic, and then the Bulgarian being super nationalistic, and then you do the DNA test, and maybe the Bulgarian is actually more Serbian than the Serb, and the Serb is more Bulgarian than the Bulgar, etc., you name it. So, yeah, it's all created by certain authorities, certain people, and I wouldn't put too much emphasis on a specific nation. Anyway, so that was Thai. Now let me check Malaysia. So we have Malaysian. Yeah, that's hilarious. Can you see this? Here, it's 47% Thai and Cambodian. Go figure. 34% Filipino, Indonesian, Malay. Okay. South Asian. Hey, even North African. That is crazy, man. That is wild. That is distinct, I have to say. But mind you, this is of course just one person. I'm 100% sure that you can find the same ethnic makeup again in Thailand, and vice versa, etc., etc. It's always like that. So I personally don't really care much for nations per se. It really comes down to ideology, and this is why I say that we should identify as Muslims first. Bobby, has your interactions with non-Muslims around you in your life changed as a Muslim? How are they towards you? I mean, most people don't know that I'm Muslim. Many people assume, however. I found that quite surprising, actually. When I bring my son to school, I never talk with anybody of those school parents or teachers about religion and that I'm Muslim. But everybody just assumed that I'm Muslim anyways. So by the looks of it, apparently the beard. So I like it. I like being identified as a Muslim anyhow. But now people are always respectful to me, man. I don't know. I always had very good experiences with people in general. No matter where I go, people are always respectful to me, always nice to me. Yeah, I never had any bad experiences, Muslim or not Muslim. The main difference is basically with my family, and I don't want to talk about it again in detail. But my family is not very welcoming about it. But the rest, yeah. It's actually a difference for me now when I'm speaking to certain people that are heavily identified with nationality or heavily identified with politics, etc. It becomes very tedious and kind of tiresome because those are topics that I talked about like years ago, and now I'm just bored by it. It's not very interesting to me to talk about such subjects, but non-Muslims always talk about such subjects. So therefore, I'm rather surrounded by Muslims because you can always fall back to Islam and speak about Islam. I enjoy that more. All Asians have Finnish DNA and all Finns have Asian DNA. I don't know. I don't think all do. Racial identity is important, but at the end of the day, it's secondary to religion. Most people have it backwards, unfortunately. Yeah, honestly, I don't really see it. I really don't. I find it tedious and boring. I really do. I was somewhat of a racist myself, if you will. Not like a hardcore racist, but I was subscribing to nationalistic ideas, ethnic ideas, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, just looking back to it, I'm getting really bored by it and kind of disgusted by it as well. It's such a primitive understanding of this world where I'm just going to focus on the skin color or the certain attributes of certain races and just parrot over and over the same bunk. For what? I don't get it. Sometimes I watch pseudo-history or alternative history videos on YouTube, and people are so obsessed by their race. They built the pyramids and whatnot and blah, blah. Man, it's really, really boring. I can't fathom how you can be stuck in that your whole lifetime. Alhamdulillah, I'm not. So at some point you have to realize that this life is fleeting, this life is temporary, we're all gonna die. So maybe let's not focus only on our bodies and look a little bit further. You know, that would be great. Anyways, Humayt, good to see you, brother. Thank you very much for the generous donation of 250 dirham. Thank you very much, bro. Appreciate the generous donation. Merci beaucoup. Shukran. Appreciate it. Yeah, what am I talking about? Yeah, I'm getting so bored that I can't even compile the sentence properly. What I'm saying is there are certain alternative history videos on YouTube, okay? Then you have people claiming the Aryans, they built everything. They built the pyramids and whatnot. It was all a white civilization, purely white, blue-eyed and whatnot. And then you have the same story coming from the blacks, right? It was the blacks, we was kings, and we built the pyramids and whatnot, and it just never ends. And it's this worship of race over and over again. Look what we've done. Look what our ancestors have done. Again, I'm coming from the Balkan. I don't care for it, man. My whole life I've been told that Alexander the Great Macedonian, he has conquered everything, and this is our accomplishment. It has nothing to do with me at all. Zero. I, as a man, have to accomplish in this life. That's that. Nation states will change. Even ethnicities will be renamed yet again. I couldn't care less. I'm a man. I have to take care of my family. I have to make money. I have to pray. That's it. Right? So for me, it's just absolutely nonsensical to focus on race over and over again. Now, that doesn't mean that we all have to mix and we all have to become shades of brown. It doesn't need to be if you don't want to. If you want to marry a white woman, go for it. More power to you. If you want to race mix, go for it. More power to you. I couldn't care less, really. For me, life is divided, alhamdulillah, between believers and non-believers, which no, dear Islam haters, doesn't mean that I want to kill all the disbelievers. No, quite the opposite. I'm actually a quite loving guy. I want to invite them to Islam, inshallah, and I want the best for every human being. Genuinely, I mean this. And that's that. Right? Very, very simple. I'm just fed up with it. I cannot focus on nationalism and racism and all that stuff. It's so childish. It's backwards. Yo. Yeah, and then this racial pride as well, you know? It's like, okay, now what? I've been dealt a certain genetic card deck. Thank you very much. I'm pretty happy with my genetics. Thank you. I appreciate it. And that's that now. I cannot be proud of it. Why would I be? And the same applies to every race. I'm not saying, hey, white people shouldn't be proud and black people should be proud. No, I'm saying, why would you be proud of your race? For what? I don't get it. It's nice. It's a gift from God, ultimately. Thank you very much for this vehicle. Thank you very much for this body that I can enjoy life with. I appreciate it. It's amazing. And that's that. Why would I obsess about it now? Over and over and over and over again. I don't get it. I really don't. Anyways. My wife, I said it many times before, is half Senegalese and half French. So she's already race mixed. And I further went down to mix it even further. Yes, so therefore my kids are Macedonian, quote unquote. I say ethnically Bulgarian, another can of worms. Senegalese, and French. That's basically what they are. My son always says, I am everything. And it's amazing. I'm very, very happy with him. Very, very happy with him. That's just what it is. Okay. Hey, Bobby, do you have any experience or advice for dealing with narcissist abuse? No, I don't. I mean, coming from Daniel, coming from a man, for me, I've seen this term being thrown around quite a bit. Narcissism, whatever. Back in the day, I think somebody like that would be called an egomaniac. I don't really care for the terminology. If you have a partner, a person in your life, so you as a man, a woman, ideally, and as a woman, a man, and they are mistreating you directly, then leave them. Simple as that. Life's too short. All right? So I don't really care for those terminologies of narcissist, those labels, whatever. If you have a person that disrespects you, basically, and doesn't want to live up to your codex, doesn't appreciate your values, simply leave. That's it. It's very important that the woman obeys her husband. And so if you cannot be the leading role in your relationship, in your marriage, then simply leave before having kids. Very, very important. You cannot accept any disrespect ultimately, and you cannot accept that your wife won't obey by your rules and your worldview. If she goes against it, you will have an absolute horrible time within your marriage. That's what it is. So the woman, her perfect role is when she finds a man that she respects, and then she wants to follow into his frame and into his worldview. And this is why, alhamdulillah, again, for Islam, that within Islam, we can marry Christian and Jewish women, but not the other way around. Because the woman, if she respects her man, she will follow the man, right? And ideally, the woman will respect her man. And that's why chances are much higher, of course, that the Christian woman then will revert to Islam, inshallah. But that's really what it boils down to. A good wife obeys her husband and follows into his footsteps and accepts his worldview completely as hers and lets him guide her. That's what it is. And if she doesn't do that, then you just have eternal conflict forever, all the time, over and over again. And so now if she wants the label narcissist, egomaniac, whatever, yeah, I don't really care for the label. A woman needs to respect you first and foremost. Once the respect is gone, no chance of repairing that whatsoever. And therefore, again, to come back to that term, narcissist, I'm just going to assume that it's a woman that worships herself more than anything and doesn't respect her partner because she only looks out for herself. Can't live like that. Kick right away. Does the dating culture fit with Islam? No, not at all. You cannot date within Islam. She wasn't a king. I love you and your videos. Thank you very much, Cupid. Appreciate it. Holy moly, Bobby Cleopatra was Macedonian. I know. Alexander, Cleopatra. And that's all great. Fine. But now I need to live my life. I really don't care. That's just what it is. I cannot build my persona on previous achievements of thousands of years ago. It doesn't work that way. Every man for himself, ultimately. You have to do your life. What's good pairing with coconut juice? Nothing, bro. Just coconut juice, man. Just coconut water. That's it. Do you have a second channel that plays games? No, I don't really play games other than chess. So therefore, not really worth making a gaming channel. Alexander was only Greek. Yeah, Macedonia back then was Hellenic, was Greek. That's just what it is. Yeah, about the comments about my family, etc. I don't want to talk about my family anymore. I've done it for a long time, and yeah, it's a private matter. I don't want to discuss it anymore. Did you see Israel Adesanya get TKO'd? Yep. Very, very strong. Yeah, that's the thing, man. Now he's 35. It's downhill from here. It is what it is. You can't be the same anymore, unfortunately. Okay. Anyways, I think I went through pretty much all of your questions today, guys. I'm gonna hang around for 5 to 10 more minutes. If you want to support via Super Chat, do it now. If you have any specific questions, post them now. But other than that, 5 to 10 minutes, I'm gonna take off slowly but surely. Bobby, why are you bald? Because of too much testosterone, bro. It is what it is. Can't have it both, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I've been bald for, man, a long time. I think 12 or 13 years now. I've been shaving my head. Yeah. I still have some hair. It's not like it's all gone. It's kind of thin-ish. But yeah, when it started thinning out, I just shaved it off right away and grew a beard. I did it way back before it was cool. And then I started seeing people everywhere shaving, growing beards out of a sudden. It became very, very boring. Nowadays, because so many people rock this style, I'm even considering a hair transplant just not to look like everybody else anymore. There are too many bald guys with beards. I don't know if they have the same luscious beard like me, but nevertheless, too many rock this style, man. It's boring. Brother Bobby, what's your favorite dish? Man, that's a good question. It used to be sushi. I used to love sushi more than anything. But then I got disgusted by sushi because I ordered too much of it in too many different places, and then I got low quality sushi a few times, and it really spoiled it for me. It's kind of disgusting. Now I'm laying off it. There was this one Japanese restaurant here that had high grade salmon. It was amazing. But now they changed the owner, and then it tasted disgusting again. So therefore, yeah, I'm kind of over sushi at the moment. I don't love it anymore as much as I used to. So therefore, what's my favorite dish? I guess it's steak and rice. I'm eating my favorite dish 3 times per day. Steak and rice, I really like. I like a good hamburger, I have to say. But obviously I'm not eating it that often. But a good hamburger, if it's well done, I like it. Yeah, I like kebabs, but only in Germany. I've been around the world and they all tasted miserable. I haven't had one good kebab anywhere else but in Germany. So ein guter deutscher Döner, das wäre ja ganz schön toll, Freunde. Ja. German kebab would be nice. I like that too. What else? That's basically what it is, man. I just really enjoy steak and rice. I used to like ramen noodle soups a lot when I was a kid. Nowadays, not so much anymore. A really well done pizza, if it's really well done, Italian style, 1 slice. Yeah, but I can't eat a whole pizza. For me, it's boring after a while. After the second slice, it gets super boring. blows your belly up. Nah, don't like it. But a good slice, if it's a good pizza, good cheese, sure, why not? Yeah. I go with rice and steak, honestly. That's what it is. Actually, matter of fact, one of my dreams is to go to Japan and eat Wagyu, where one steak costs $1,000. That's one goal of mine, believe it or not. Sounds probably a bit spoiled, but yeah. A Wagyu steak for $1,000 on a good teppanyaki. Sounds good. Sounds like my jam. What about shifting to Japan? Nah, I don't want to. I'm pretty happy here in Thailand in terms of Asia. And the next country should be Islamic. Okay. You're telling me turkey kebab is worse than German? Turkey gotta do better. Yeah, for sure, bro. Absolutely. I would say I had great food in Turkey, don't get me wrong. They have fantastic meat, they have fantastic food, obviously. Fantastic baklava, the best. But the kebab, the döner kebab, is the best in Germany, hands down. It's more like a fusion cuisine, you know what I mean? If you eat, for example, Chinese food in Europe or in America, it's not traditional Chinese food. It is already like a fusion. And it's the same with the kebab. They use certain salads that are indigenous to Germany. I like it. The German kebab is the best, hands down. Nothing can compare. Yeah, I've never made it to Japan, so that is on my checklist of to-dos. Eating $1,000 Wagyu steak in Japan. Do you compete in martial arts? Yeah, I still compete in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Because of health issues, I haven't in the last half a year, 7 months, something like that. So inshallah, soon again. But yeah, that's all I'm doing. I'm old now, man. I'm just doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Aliyah Jen, thank you very much for the donation. Says, why don't you collab with a Muslim cowboy? I've never spoken to the guy, that's why. I'm not in contact with him. But yeah, I'm open to it, why not? Wie findest du den Manga Vagabond? Ist mein Lieblingsmanga. Matter of fact. Ist mein Lieblingsmanga. Ich liebe es. Do you watch Paul Saladino? I don't really watch Paul Saladino. I mean, I see a short here and there pop up from him, but I don't watch or follow him. But in terms of diet, I respect what he does, and it seems to be working for him. And technically, it seems like almost the perfect human diet, ultimately. For carbohydrates, you're using just dairy and fruits, no grains, no starches. But it doesn't work for me. It really doesn't. I cannot live without starches long term. I tried it multiple times for years and years on end. And my physiology does not allow me to live without starches. No chance. Assalamu alaikum, Bobby. Wa alaikum assalam, Muhammad. Bobby, have you had any Middle Eastern dishes? I don't know them by name, but yes, absolutely. I mean, here in Thailand, we actually have a lot of Middle Eastern food. And so I ate a lot of kebabs here, shish kebabs and whatnot. So a lot of meat, but I cannot name every single dish now. A lot of meat and rice, basically. Which is always good, of course. Do you watch anime? No, I don't watch anime anymore. When I was a teenager still, I watched some anime. I watched Dragon Ball, but I preferred the manga over the anime itself. The last anime that I watched was One Punch Man, I think, because everybody was telling me about it. So I watched the first season. I never watched the second. Do they have a third? I have no idea. And I watched Death Note as well. That was pretty much the last stuff that I watched in terms of anime. Now, slowly but surely, my son started watching Pokemon here and there. So I kind of got excited for that as well. Watched some Pokemon with him. That was fun. But yeah, I don't watch any anime actively. I don't watch anything really, to be honest. Yeah. I just don't find it exciting anymore. I used to watch anime. I used to watch a lot of movies back in the day, Hollywood movies. But nothing anymore. Bobby, how can I contact you to get the frame behind you? Yeah, for that, I have a homepage, matter of fact. So let me just post it in the chat. It's called Sacred Scripts. And there you can just get it and order it. 1 second. I think it's still in the description box, is it not? Let me double check. 1 second, guys. So yeah, you can get the pictures via my online store. I believe that it was... 1 second. That it was in the description box. Should be. Mm. 1 second. Okay, I'm gonna pull it up. I'm gonna stay in the chat and pull it up and then post it in the chat, inshallah. Yeah, I answered that already. Inshallah this year to Mecca. We'll see. Okay, let me see. It should be posted. Redbubble page is posted. Now here it is, sacredscripts.org. It's here, yeah. So when you open up the description, you should be able to find it. But nevertheless, I'm still gonna post in the chat now. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna post it a few times. I'm gonna spam my own chat. Here it is. That's the link. Here you can get the pictures of the 99 names of Allah. No worries. Your Bobby Mecca videos would be fire? Yeah, inshallah, for sure. If I make it to Mecca, then I will make a video. A vlog. That'd be cool. Bobby, have you ever seen any lectures by Sheikh Imran Hussein, Islamic eschatology scholar? Yeah, I talked about him briefly before. First and foremost, in my culture, we respect our elders, so therefore, I'm not gonna bash the guy. He's an old man now. It is what it is. But that being said, he made a video about Macedonia, and it was so politically inaccurate, unbelievable. And that being said, when it comes down to eschatology, the question is always the source, right? So when you have the Christian eschatology, for example, there are certain claims based on revelation, all right? And people talk about it because they can backtrack it to the Bible. But when it comes down to the eschatological claims of Sheikh Imran Hussein, I'm really wondering where he gets it from. So he's telling a lot of stories. For example, there was this one story how the Mahdi will come and Isa will come, and then Isa will lead the Christians in one nation, and Mahdi will lead the Muslims in his nation. And I'm wondering, okay, where do you get this from? Who told you that? How come, right? Where do you get this information from? And there was never an explanation for it. So therefore, to me, a lot of things that he says sound made up. Any offer for Ramadan? Not planned yet, but why not, man? I can make one. like a 10% off or something. Okay. Anyways, stop spamming. I will try to give you 10% off, okay? Something like that. I will make a Ramadan offer. Anyways, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Nice connecting with you, nice chilling with you, relaxing with you. It was a lot of fun for me. Thank you very much for supporting as well. Inshallah, we have some interviews coming up. I don't know if you saw the interview. I did an interview just recently, I think 2 weeks ago or so, for the channel Convert Stories. There was a lot of fun, very good interview in my opinion. And yeah, we have a few people that want to interview me as well. Some more famous than others as well. So inshallah that is coming up. Not so much on my channel, but maybe I can repost some stuff for that. And yeah, then we're gonna see what else is coming up in the next coming days/weeks. 1 more hour? Nah, I'm not doing 1 more hour, man. It's okay. I have to eat a steak and rice dish, as always. And then I'm gonna go to bed early. Tomorrow is a tough Jitsu day again. Tomorrow 2 sessions. Very, very tough. So I need regeneration and recovery. But thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. Thank you very much for supporting. I appreciate it. Good to see everybody here. And now I'm tuning out. As always, if you want to further support, guys, all the links are in the description box below. Thank you very much. Okay, guys, anyways, that's it. As always, may God bless you all. Much love and peace.
يا نفس إن لم تظفري لا تجزعي يا نفس إن لم تظفري لا تجزعي وإلى مواعيد جود مولاك هرعي يا نفس إن لم تظفري لا تجزعي وإلى مواعيد جود مولاك هرعي وإذا تأخر مطلب فلربما في ذلك التأخير كل المطمع فاستانسي بالمنع وارعي حقه إن الرضا وصف المنيب الألمع وإذا بدا من ناطق الوجدان ما يدعوك للياس الذميم الأشنع فاستيقظي من نومة الغفلات وليكن الرجاء لك مرتعا فيه ارتعي إن العطاء إمداده متنوعون إن العطاء إمداده متنوعون يا حسنه ذاك العطاء المتنوع وردوا على نهر الحياة وكلهم شربوا وكم في الركب من متضلع حاشا الكريم يردهم عطشا وقاد وردوا وأصل الجود من ذا المنبع أصل الجود من ذا المنبع. يا رب لي ظن جميل وافر قدمته وامشي به يسعى معي. يا رب يا رب لي ظن جميل وافر قدمته أمشي به يسعى معي. كل الذي يرجون فضلك كل الذي يرجون فضلك أمطروا. حاشاك أن يبقى هشيما مربعي. كل الذي يرجون فضلك أمطروا. حاشاك أن يبقى هشيما مربعي.